The Fire Within. Tom was a man who collected horizons. He had seen the sun rise over mountains that scraped the sky and set on oceans that swallowed the light. But stories of a haunted forest in Rajasthan whispered a different kind of challenge, a journey not of miles, but of the mind. Locals spoke of a place where the trees held a curse, and those who stayed the night were often found lifeless by dawn, their faces etched with a silent scream. Intrigued, Tom decided this was a frontier he had to explore. The villagers, their faces weathered like the desert stone, warned him. "The spirits there are cursed," an elder explained, his voice a dry rasp. "They cannot touch you in the light, but they will call to you, using the voices of your deepest loves and fears to lure you into the shadows." The only survivors were those who clung to their campfires, never straying, never succumbing to the phantom cries. Heeding their words, Tom ventured in. He chose his ground carefully, a small clearing where the ancient trees seemed to watch him like silent judges. He worked with a focused intensity, gathering enough wood to fuel a blaze for 2 full nights. As the last sliver of sun bled from the sky, he struck a match. The fire caught, a crackling, defiant heart of light in the encroaching, absolute dark of a moonless night. For a time, there was only the sound of the fire and the whisper of the wind. Then it began. A voice, achingly familiar, cut through the night. "Tom, help me." It was his wife, her voice raw with terror. It sounded so real, so desperate, that every instinct screamed at him to run, to find her, to save her. His heart hammered against his ribs. He almost rose, almost took that first fatal step into the dark. But the elder's warning echoed in his mind. "They will use the voices of your deepest loves." He gritted his teeth, forcing himself to stay within the circle of light, recognizing the phantom cry for what it was, a key expertly crafted to unlock the door to his soul. The ghosts were relentless. They used the disappointed voice of his father, the fearful cries of his children from a long-forgotten nightmare, every failure and insecurity he had ever known. The assault was a storm, and he felt his resolve, his mental dam, begin to crack. He knew, with a chilling certainty, that he could not withstand this for much longer. An hour, maybe 2, and he would break. In that moment of near surrender, a profound realization bloomed. The man the ghosts were attacking, the husband, the son, the adventurer, was just a collection of experiences, a role he had played. But the essence of him, the silent observer behind the eyes, was something else entirely. He was not his memories. He was not his emotions. He anchored this core self to the fire. He became the flame, pure, unwavering, and present. The ghosts threw their worst at him, their phantom voices hammering at his mind. But now, they were striking an impenetrable iron box. Inside, the soft, delicate cloth of his true being remained untouched, serene, and unharmed. Hours passed like moments. The cacophony of fear faded into a distant hum. He existed only in that space between himself and the flame. When the first gray fingers of dawn reached through the trees, the forest fell silent. Tom opened his eyes. He was alive, but he was not the same man who had entered the woods. He had found a strength not of muscle, but of spirit. We all have our own haunted forests, the dark places in our lives where the ghosts of fear, doubt, and regret call to us. We must be like Tom. We must learn to separate our true essence from the life we live, and gather strength from the fire within. When the mind becomes a fortress, no problem, no ghost can ever touch the real us.